It's 3 a.m., you're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down beside you because you promised yourself you wouldn't check it. Your mind is doing that thing again, replaying a conversation from 6 years ago for no reason at all. You assume something is wrong with you, but the real answer is far stranger. You are not broken. You are ancient. For most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night wasn't a disorder. It was Tuesday. Long before electric light, before phones, before the 8-hour block of sleep you've been told is normal, humans slept in 2 parts. Historian A. Roger Ekirch spent over a decade combing through diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe. What he found surprised him. People described a first sleep and a second sleep, separated by an hour or two of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night. This wasn't insomnia. It was the schedule. During that gap, people didn't panic. They didn't reach for a screen. They prayed. They talked. They had sex. They tended the fire. Some just lay there, thinking the way you do at 3 a.m. now. The difference is they weren't afraid of it. So what changed? Light changed. Specifically, cheap, powerful, always available light. Your ancestors' nights were dark, truly dark. No streetlights, no glowing screens, no fridge lights spilling into the kitchen. When the sun went down, their bodies received a clear signal. It's time to wind down. Melatonin rose, body temperature dropped. Sleep came in naturally. Then came candles, then gaslight, then Edison's bulb, and eventually the blue-lit rectangle you're probably reading something similar to right now. Sleep researcher Charles Czeisler at Harvard Medical School has spent decades studying how light exposure resets the human circadian clock. His research shows that even a few hours of bright artificial light in the evening can delay your body's internal clock by hours, tricking your brain into thinking the day isn't over yet. Your brain didn't evolve for that. It evolved for firelight and stars. Here's where it gets stranger. If light explains why we sleep differently now, what explains hunter-gatherer societies who still live largely without electricity today? You'd expect them to sleep the segmented way Ekirch described. They mostly don't. Sleep scientist Jerome Siegel at UCLA led a landmark study tracking the sleep of 3 modern hunter-gatherer and forager-horticulturalist groups: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. These are groups with no electricity, no clocks, no alarms. If anyone was going to sleep the natural, ancient way, it should have been them. Instead, Siegel's team found something almost nobody expected. These groups slept in a single consolidated block, not 2 segments. They averaged around 6 to 6.5 hours a night. They rarely napped. And remarkably, none of the groups had a word in their language for insomnia. Not one. Sit with that for a second. People with no light pollution, no caffeine addiction, no work stress in the modern sense, sleeping 6 hours a night and never once complaining about it. So maybe the problem was never how much you sleep. Maybe it's how you feel about the sleep you get. Siegel's research suggests something quietly radical. The anxiety around sleep, the dread of waking up at 3 a.m. and doing math about how many hours you have left, might be a uniquely modern invention. Hunter-gatherers woke in the night too. Researchers observed brief periods of wakefulness scattered through their sleep. The difference is they didn't treat it as a crisis. They just waited it out, then went back to sleep. Why would ancient wakefulness even exist in the first place? Wouldn't evolution favor the humans who slept the deepest, straight through until dawn? Not necessarily. Not if something might be creeping toward camp. For most of human history, sleeping too deeply was a liability. A predator doesn't check whether you're well rested before it attacks. Anthropologists studying sleep architecture point out that lighter, more fragmented sleep, waking briefly, listening, checking the fire, then drifting off again, may have been an evolutionary safeguard. A fully unconscious human near a dying fire in the open savanna was vulnerable. A half-alert one had a better shot at survival. Your brain still runs that old software. That's why the smallest creak of your house at night can snap you fully awake, heart pounding, even though, logically, it's just the pipes. You're not anxious. You're equipped. There's another piece to this. Ancient humans didn't experience nighttime the way you do, as empty, useless hours to be filled with sleep as efficiently as possible. Anthropological accounts of surviving hunter-gatherer and small-scale societies describe nighttime wakefulness as social time. Sitting by the fire. Low conversation. Storytelling passed from elder to child. This wasn't wasted time. It was some of the only time free from the demands of gathering food, building shelter, and surviving daylight hours. Now compare that to your version of nighttime wakefulness. Alone. In bed. Staring at a ceiling, or worse, at a screen that's actively working against your ability to fall back asleep. You inherited the wakefulness. You lost the fire. This is the modern mirror. Your ancestors woke in the dark and had company, conversation, a shared ritual around it. You wake in the dark and have a silent room and a mind that immediately assumes something is wrong. The waking itself isn't new. The isolation and the dread are new. Does that mean you should try to sleep like a caveman, split into 2 neat blocks with a candlelit hour in between? Probably not. Siegel's own research argues against romanticizing pre-industrial sleep as some lost ideal. Hunter-gatherers slept in solid blocks too, remember. What they didn't have was the fear. That might be the actual takeaway. Not a sleep schedule, a mindset. The next time you wake at 3 a.m., your ancestors are, in a strange way, doing the exact same thing you're about to do. Lying still, listening to the quiet, thinking. The only difference is they didn't reach for their phone to check how many hours of failure they had left before an alarm. They just lay there, unbothered, until sleep came back on its own. Maybe the fix was never a supplement, or a sleep app, or a perfectly optimized bedroom. Maybe it's just permission. Permission to wake up in the night without deciding it means something is broken. Because for most of the time humans have existed, waking in the dark wasn't the problem. It's 3 a.m., you're staring at the ceiling. And for the first time, that doesn't feel like something wrong with you. It feels like something ancient, doing exactly what it was built to do.